Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. My name is AJ. I'm here to take you through a number of news articles for today. I'm going to give you my opinions and also a rant or two, which I'm sure you guys love it. That's why you're here, right? Anyway, let's not waste any more time and we'll start with the first article. Go F yourselves, Zelensky aide tells the Western officials. The presidential advisor called Westerners urging concessions in the name of peace dumb Fs. Oh my god. High-profile Ukrainian presidential advisor Alexei Arestovich has resorted to obscene language to criticize those in the West urging Kiev to cede part of country's territory to Russia for the sake of peace. Go F yourselves with such proposals, you dumb Fs. To trade Ukrainian territory a little bit. Are you effing crazy? Oh my god. Our children are dying, soldiers are stopping shells with their own bodies, and they are telling us how to sacrifice our territories. This will never happen, he insisted in an interview on Wednesday. And not only that, but Mr. Zelensky as well got into the act of it. You can see here. President Zelensky also criticized Kissinger. And Kissinger, everybody knows Kissinger. I mean, he is a very well-known diplomat. And he just goes around insulting Kissinger. I mean, that's not going to go down very well in America at all. Calling him out by name while speaking in more polite terms than Arestovich, saying that the American statesman emerged from the long-gone past and spoke as if it's 1938 and not 2022, as he thought he was taking an audience in Munich of that time and not Davos. So I just want to say this, guys. First of all, the West has been giving Zelensky and his merry men a lot of money, a lot of weapons, a lot of aid. US has given almost 53 billion. EU has given almost 30 billion. The UK has probably given about 10 billion. And other countries altogether probably have given about 20-30 billion. You're talking about over 100 billion of aid that has gone into Ukraine. And it could be more as well. It could be more. There's a lot of crowdfunding stuff where normal citizens are paying Ukraine as well. So you're talking about billions there as well. And it's a lot of money. I think it's between 100 to 150 billion that Ukraine has got this year due to this war. And where's all this money going, you might say? It's going down a sinkhole, because you look at where that money is going. It's not going into the army. The army is being destroyed. Donbass is absolutely being destroyed. Mariupol's pretty much finished. All of these Azov militants, Ukrainians, they're dying about, there's reports about average of 100 people a day, Ukrainian soldiers are dying. And then you got hundreds surrendering as well. You got hundreds who are getting injured. They are losing this war really, really badly. And you got to say, where is all this money going? It's not going on the infrastructure. It's not going to the people because they're increasing all of the taxes. It's just going into this war, because wars are very expensive things. And if you think about it, Ukraine is not making any money at the moment. All the businesses are shut down. Well, most of the businesses are shut down. Most people have left the country, so they're not getting any tax benefits. Most of the men are fighting, so there's hardly any men doing any business or doing any work. Mainly it's just women and kids, and all the women and kids have probably left the country. They're not exporting any grain. Most of the grain is stuck in the ports. So they're not making any money at all. And all of this money being sent by the West is just going down a sinkhole. And there's got to come a time when people are going to say enough is enough. We're not going to pay any more. What is Ukraine going to do a few months' time when he says to the US, you know what, we've run out of your money, we need some more? or he goes to the EU and says, you know what, we've run out of money, we need some more. What do you think the EU is going to say? What do you think the Americans are going to say? People in the West are already fed up of this war. And you can see it. Hardly any papers now report on it. I looked at the BBC today, hardly anything about Ukraine. There's a couple of stories about Boris, a couple of stories about China, but that's about it. There's hardly anything about Ukraine. You look at some of the papers like Fox News and stuff, hardly anything about Ukraine. All of their attention is now gone on to the shooting that happened in Texas. And same thing with all of the American news channels. They're not reporting the Ukrainian war at all. Not at all. Not even a bit. Mainly everyone's talking about the Texas shooting. This has all gone back to the back burner. Absolutely back burner. People are fed up of it. People are bored of it. Even the politicians are bored of it. So I can guarantee you there's a lot of politicians in the background. We're talking about Biden and Blinken, Nuland. They're whispering to Zelensky, you know what, maybe you should have peace talks with Russia and see if you can, give up some of your land like Crimea and Donbass and Luhansk, because if this war carries on as it is, you're going to lose even more. And Boris is even very, very quiet, but I'm sure he's in the background telling Zelensky to just kind of come up with a peace deal. And the same with some of the Europeans as well, I'm sure. People like Italy, and I'm sure there's a few other countries who are in the background telling Zelensky to just, come up with a peace deal with Russia. This war is lost and nobody's interested anymore. Everyone's bored of it. So it's best to cut your losses now, otherwise you're going to lose even more losses later on. And so this is the kind of response that these Western diplomats or leaders get from the Zelensky team. Go F yourselves, you dumb Fs. Can you see how caveman-like these Ukrainians are? And this is what you get. This is what you get when you deal with these idiots, with these, people with no brains. I mean, Zelensky and his merry men are just a bunch of actors, producers, directors. That's all they are. Script writers. They're not diplomats. They're not real diplomats. Real diplomats go out there, work out peace deals. They would have been working out peace deals with Russia. If they had worked out this peace deal with Russia before the war started, they could have had Donbass, they could have had Luhansk part of Ukrainian territory, but they would have been they would have been a different state, or, but they would have still been part of Ukraine. They could have worked out something with Russia at the time, but now they have lost so much. They've lost Donetsk, they have lost Luhansk, they lost Crimea for good, you might as well forget it. They have lost most of southern Ukraine. And they're going to be losing even more. Every single day Russia is making gains. So this is the kind of language that the Western leaders suddenly see themselves. These same leaders that are standing up clapping for Zelensky every time he makes a speech are the same leaders being told to F off, being called a dumb F. Can you see the insult these Europeans and Americans are getting? And nobody's even saying anything. They're just taking it. They're just taking it like chumps, because they can't say anything. They absolutely can't. They just look like idiots. Anyway, let's move on. I want to talk about this story. This is absolutely funny. This is absolutely ridiculous. So CNN apologized to China. So basically what happened is Zelensky was making a speech in the World Economic Forum, and everybody had to stand up and clap. And as you do every time Zelensky makes a speech, you got to stand up and clap and, blow some whistles and stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. So basically CNN said, right, that the Chinese diplomats did not stand up and they did not clap, and later on they walked out of the office. I mean, if that really happened, then I would have just, I would have patted these Chinese diplomats on the back, shook their hands, give them whatever they want in terms of money. Here, mate, take this money, buy yourself a coffee or a drink. What you did there was amazing. The only thing was, the people who actually didn't stand up were not even Chinese. They were Vietnamese. So CNN basically mistook the Vietnamese diplomats as Chinese diplomats. The Chinese diplomats were not even there. They didn't even, they didn't even want any part of it. So they weren't even there. So basically, this is racism to the max. So CNN, just because you see an Asian person not standing up and clapping, they think all Asian people look the same. They think Vietnamese are Chinese. Chinese are Vietnamese. They think every single Asian person is the same. And this is why Asian people get attacked all over the world. In America, in Europe, Australia. Because they think they're all the same. According to them, according to CNN, according to Americans, according to most people. Isn't that so racist? So CNN had to apologize to China saying, yeah, sorry, we made a mistake. It wasn't you guys, it was the Vietnamese. But you Chinese, Vietnamese, you all look the same. So it's not our fault. Seriously, this is racism to the max. So moving on to the next story. Ukraine is threatening to cut the oil pipeline running to Hungary. And this is because, as you know, Hungary has been very vocal, very, very vocal in terms of blocking any attempts for an oil embargo from Russia. So Hungary is doing everything they can to not for this embargo not to go ahead, because Hungary will be the most affected. Because they are landlocked, they will have to rely on other European nations to give them oil. So Hungary does not want to go along this route. So they are, obviously fighting as much as they can. So the Ukrainians are not very happy. So they are completely threatening to cut off all oil supplies to Hungary. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Ukraine has shut down a pipeline that was going into Hungary. And I showed you the pipeline that was going into Hungary. If you remember a few weeks ago when Ukraine shut this pipeline down, Sokranova, and if you follow this pipeline, you will see that it goes all the way into Hungary. So they shut that down. And now they have shut this pipeline down, or they're threatening to shut this pipeline down. So the one in the green is called the Druzhba pipeline. And this goes all the way through Ukraine, through here. And you can see it goes into Hungary, and it also goes into Slovakia. So what may happen is Ukraine obviously controls the western part of Ukraine. So they can easily shut the part that goes into Hungary and just carry on with supplying oil through Slovakia and Czech Republic. And that's what they're threatening with at the moment. And this is why the West shouldn't trust Ukraine when it comes to pipelines and oil and gas. They have all the control to do whatever the hell they want. And they are desperate now, and they will do it. And this is why Ukrainians cannot be trusted. And this is why Russia and Germany made a deal to create the Nord Stream 2 to bypass all of this. And now, as you know, the Nord Stream 2 is dead in the water. So this is why, Ukraine just cannot be trusted. And again, the West deserve it. The West completely deserve it for trusting Ukraine, for putting all of their faith in Ukraine. And look at how Ukraine is repaying them. So I'm just going to go talk a bit about the shooting. It's very, very sad, to be honest with you, very sad. But it's not the only shooting. This happens on a regular basis in America. A couple of weeks ago, you had the Buffalo shooting. Again, another young kid with insignia of Azov. He was going around shooting kids and people. And now you have the same thing here. And I've got to say, this is American gun culture. Not only it's about having their gun culture as well, but it's also they breed violence. You know, with all of these wars that America is, you know, pushing around the world, all of these conflicts and wars, you see what they're doing with Ukraine. You know, they're not even having any peace talks. You know, all you see in the American papers and American news channels is America sending weapons. All they do is talk about war and killing. You know, there's no peace talks. There's nobody talking about peace. Send a delegate to Ukraine and Russia. Talk about peace. Talk about ways to de-escalate. Not escalate further by sending weapons. And in American news channels, whenever you see all of these fake news things about Ghost of Kiev or Russian tank got destroyed, it's front page news. They just talk about it. They say, oh yeah, you know, Ukraine is winning. Ukraine is blowing up Russians. Ukraine is killing all these Russian troops. That's all they talk about. War and killing, war and killing. Not one channel talks about peace. Not one channel says, you know what, we've had enough of seeing all of this killing. Let's just get Ukraine and Russia back towards the negotiation table and let's get them to talk. And if Russia wants Ukraine to be neutral, let's discuss it. You know, none of that. It's just killing after killing after killing. America sending more weapons and more weapons. The 40 billion going into more weapons. And now they're starting a fight with China. It's just war after war after war. It was before it was Afghanistan, before it was Iraq. Does America have any peace at all? Has America gone through any periods where they just had peace? When you have all of this warmongering going on, you breed a nation of warmongers, of killers, serial killers. And that's what's happened. You see all of these kids, especially the Buffalo shooter who had insignia of the Azov militants, the Azov symbol. You have all of these kids who are made to think that these Azovs and these, you know, Ukrainians, these NAZIs are heroes. They're made to believe that in the schools. They go to school and all of these other kids are like, oh, I want to be like an Azov. These guys are heroes. They are standing up to Russian aggression. I want to be an Azov. No, I want to be an Azov. You see what it breeds? It breeds killers. And these kids, they feel like killing is normal. You're normalizing killing. America has got itself in this situation. America is all to blame. And now you have these Democrats and Republicans blaming each other. It's ridiculous. You know, why doesn't America suddenly just look at themselves in the mirror and think, you know what? We are spreading a lot of hate around the world. We are spreading a lot of wars. Why don't we just calm down for a bit and work out our own problems? You know, fix all of these issues in America. Fix, you know, infrastructure. You know, fix all of these homeless problems. Fix the inflation. Fix the economy. Instead, you're venturing out, spreading one war after another, one war after another. All Biden talks about is Ukraine. What about the internal problems? It's the same in Britain and it's the same in many other countries. It's not just America, guys. You know, these leaders, instead of looking at their own economy, their own problems, they rather venture out and seek refuge in Ukraine. They think, you know, talking about Ukraine or focusing on Ukraine will help them survive, get more votes. It's making it worse. Seriously, you guys need to wake up. Need to wake up soon. Now it comes to Sholz. Sholz is the only EU leader who's got absolutely no brain, alongside Ursula von der Leyen. And surprise, surprise, they're both German. I mean, what is it with German people nowadays? I thought Germans were really clever. I've worked with German people. They are so clever. They're so, you know, methodical, and they're really, really clever people. Germans are. So I'm just surprised how idiotic and shambolic Scholz is. Same with Ursula. There's other German leaders as well around the world stage. That guy from NATO, I'm not sure if he's German. He's got a German name, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. Just don't know what the hell they're doing. Look what German Scholz says. Russia will not win the war in Ukraine. What desert island has he come out from? It's almost like he's just woke up from a long coma and doesn't know what's going on or what's been happening in the war lately. Go back to sleep, mate. Go back to sleep. Then you got this idiot. He says Germany is changing its China policy with higher priority for human rights, says the minister. So as you can see, they're following the same argument. They're just following the US blindly. Absolutely following the US blindly. When Merkel was around, she had a good relationship with China. China is Germany's biggest trading partner. And there's so many German companies in China making money. You have all of these car companies. BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen. You have so many great companies, German companies, making a lot of money in China. So why affect all of that? Why destroy that relationship? Makes no sense. Seriously, these guys, I just don't know what they are smoking, these guys. I really thought Germans were clever. I was really wrong. Not only that, Ukrainian ambassador insults Germany again. So you see, all of this help that Germany is doing, all of these things that German Scholz is saying about Ukraine, all the nice things, Ukrainians are still insulting them. There was a time when the German minister was not even allowed to set foot into Ukraine, and the Ukrainians were calling him names. Insult after insult to Germany. This is embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And these German fools are taking it like idiots. When you go to a school and you see a bully bullying this little kid, and then you kind of feel sorry for him, but then the little kid is like really annoying and got a squeaky voice and starts being all pervy towards the girls, and you think, oh, you know what, this guy deserves it. Let him get bullied. This is exactly what's happening to Germany. Getting bullied by the US, getting bullied by Ukraine, and they bloody deserve it. You don't feel sorry for them. Absolutely embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. So in the UK, things are not getting any better. I'm going to talk about UK in a bit more detail. As you can see, the UK private sector growth falls to the weakest point since last winter's lockdown. We are almost on a recession, if not in a recession already. The only thing that's keeping up the numbers is the inflation. So even though the recession has probably hit already, you're not going to see it. Because of the high cost of inflation, it's just going to mess up with the numbers. But I'm pretty sure in the next quarter, UK will probably announce that it's heading towards recession. I just don't see any way they can get out of it. I just don't see any way. And the Chancellor today has done something more outrageous, which I'm going to talk about a bit later on. So going back to UK, obviously Boris is in his last legs. I don't know how long more he can survive. There's pictures that came out about him having his party. You can see here it's utter embarrassment, and look at the amount of drinks there. Seriously, all this guy wants to do is drink and get drunk. He every time he's on a press conference, you feel that he's just drunk. He doesn't know what he's saying. He talks about Peppa Pig. You know, how the hell does this guy become a prime minister? And how the hell is he still in power? I just don't know. Anyway, Rishi Sunak has made announcement today, and he's made an announcement to help the people, households with bills, and he's also apparently he's going to do a windfall tax, and this windfall tax is going to target some energy companies who are making billions of profit, which is correctly so. But he's not very popular for doing it because a lot of these energy companies also fund the government as well. So they obviously fund the Tory government. So they're not going to be very happy, and they have threatened to take away some of the funding away from the government if this goes ahead. And the government changed their minds at one point. They said, no, we're not going to go to having a windfall tax. And guess what? Last minute, they just did it. They just added it today. They said, you know what? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and have a windfall tax. Also, they're going to give a lot of money to people to help pay for the gas. I just don't think it's going to be enough. One particular thing that does point out in my eyes, you can see here, Mr. Sunak said people on the lowest incomes, more than 8 million households, will get a one-off cost of living payment of £650. So, do you know what this means? This is same as what Biden had given Americans, basically a check during the pandemic. And do you know what people do when they get a one-off payment of £650? First of all, this is going to increase inflation even more because you are putting £650 in someone's pocket. They're not going to spend it wisely. They're not going to put this money towards food or gas. They're going to spend it, especially 8 million households who got no money. So what do you think they're going to do? Most of them are going to probably spend it on drugs, all in one go. Most of them will probably spend it on drinks. They'll probably go out and have some, go out some parties. Some of them might go out on a shopping spree. Some of them might order some stuff from China. So you never know. If you give £650 to the poor, they're not going to save it. They're just going to spend it there and then. That's exactly what happened in America when people were given checks by Biden in the pandemic, and people were just going out there and spending it. Buying drugs or buying goods from China. That's exactly the same thing will happen, and that caused the inflation rise as well, and this is going to cause the inflation rise to happen even more. This Rishi Sunak guy, he just doesn't know what he's talking about. And even though he's going to get a windfall tax, he doesn't really say how he's going to pay for all of this. Again, the Britain's going to have to get more debt to pay for this. I mean, he's only doing this because otherwise people are going to be shouting at him to get something done if he doesn't do it. So this is the only reason he's doing it. He's going to have to borrow a lot of money to do it, and obviously the British taxpayers will have to pay it all back. And we are already in severe debt as it is, and I just don't see any good news from this, to be honest. Any good news. People might say, yeah, I'm getting this money, I'm getting that money, but Britain will have to pay back for this eventually, and that means more taxes or more squeezing out the taxpayer. Anyway, let's move on. So just want to finally end with Miss Truss. She could be the next Prime Minister by the looks of it. Boris is on his last leg, so she could be the next Prime Minister. And you can see from this article what her priority is. Her priority is not Ukraine anymore. Her priority is not the economy. The priority is not talking about Boris. The priority is not talking about the US shootings. All the problems in the world, she has to pick this problem out. And it's almost like the whole world got a memo yesterday. And I've showed you the papers yesterday where BBC and all these other Western articles were just going along with this story about Uyghurs and Xinjiang. It's old news. It's old news. How many times have we heard this before? It's old news. You know, there's more important things going on around the world than this. Much more important. So don't pretend that all of these Westerners and Liz Truss, Americans and the British suddenly start caring about Uyghurs. Suddenly start caring about Chinese Uyghurs, Chinese Muslims. What about the Ukrainians? Are they old news now? Nobody cares about them anymore. Now let's start caring about Chinese Uyghurs. Seriously, this is how the politicians move. And I believe she's doing this because she's making moves, she's saying the right things, and the Americans are happy. She's doing it to please the Americans. The Americans are taking notice, and the Americans are going to do everything they can to put her in power. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. And it might happen sooner than you think, guys. Sooner than you think. Anyway, that's all I have time for today. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed my little rant, and hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Do what you can to help promote the channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube has a habit of unsubscribing my subscribers. And make sure you comment. I love reading your comment. I love interacting with you guys. And if you really like my channel, if you really want to support me, most of my channels do get, most of my videos actually do get demonetized. They get monetized in the beginning, but after a few days I get the big yellow mark saying video demonetized, and I lose. The only way I survive is through you guys basically making donations, buying me coffee, or joining my Patreon. So if you can do that, that'll be great. I really appreciate it. If not, don't worry, do what you can to help promote the channel. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll equally appreciate it. That would be all for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.